Hey, what's up everybody? How's it going? Today is November 13th, Sunday, 2022. And I'm going to talk about my passion, my love, the blockbusters. Big stompers. I love doing that shit. That was the fucking best for me. When it comes to graffiti, that was the shit right there. On the subways, on the streets. On the streets I really got fucking big, man. I did some big fucking blockbusters, man. Now the term blockbusters I've mentioned before, and Comet has mentioned in my things also. Comet, Blade, TC5 and them, they're pretty much ones that started that whole blockbuster thing. A little more bubble lettery, but yeah, Blade, TC5, great shit, man. Comet, amazing shit, man. Good fucking writers. Definitely they're the kings of that shit. Well, what caught my eye is later on you had Code, C-O-D-E, which was also this guy that wrote Dr. Pepper, and he also wrote Fact, T-K-A. He used to do a lot of them. I remember even it's like the Code that was actually in the books. I remember that one. I remember going in and out of that one. Lee, the Fab Five, another one. I used to actually go in some of them things, in them same Lee whole cars, the square letters. I know when I saw them things, they were pretty much buffed and wrote on and stuff, but you could still actually make them cars out. A lot of scene stuff I'd walk in right after the windows were buffed. The Scene, S-E-E-N, Mad, I remember the Mad whole car. Yeah, I remember a lot of that shit, like actually getting on those trains and going and riding around. Dondi, of course, Dondi. Yeah, Dondi did a lot of that. Like, those were blockbusters, those whole cars he did. Dondi was real good at that shit. Just, I loved it. It was like, I've explained this in a past podcast, but it's like, you know, like the form of architecture that took over when they were starting to build the projects, these buildings in low-income neighborhoods, ghettos. Late 60s, early 70s, straight on through, it's called brutalism, this form of architecture. Look at any basic projects or anything like that. It's big, huge chunks and slabs, just of concrete, like you feel small around it. Like, yeah, it's just powerful to me. That's me. I was really into that shit. And I got a lot of my ideas and schemes from, remember Schoolhouse Rock? It's 70s. Today I am still nothing more than a bill. Remember, to write this bill, you have to sign it to Congress, and then it goes off. Yeah, and junction, what you want. Yeah, all that shit. I remember the big thick letters with the stars flying around, the thick 3D. I loved it all. So yeah, between all that shit, that's pretty much how I came up with my style. A lot of Fritos influence. Code, I guess, being I'm doing the whole side. But he did his more squared style. I'll show you, I've pretty much broke down right here on this piece of paper the ones that were my go-to. They would change a little here and there. Some of them I'd put a hole in the R and the D, and some of them I won't, this and that. But this is pretty much the gist of it. I don't know if you can see my face, you can see this. Those are pretty much it. Now, if I'll break it down, this here is just a straight up old blockbuster style. This is kind of like my throw-up blockbuster style, but all these things are easy to do as a whole car. This thing here, this thing I can stretch huge. These are pretty much the basic, the first ones I started. This is kind of like a bite off of Fuzz 1, Lord. The way he would do it, the L-O-R-D, you got me? Yeah, but he didn't bend this letter that way and the D that way. He didn't do that, at least to the best of my knowledge. Yeah, Scene, I remember the big scene he did with the red outline on, up on the 6, I forget what station, right off the elevated platform, you can see it. I think he wrote Don in the corner of it, a couple of cracks in it. Yeah, I loved all that shit, man. That was my passion. Big old blockbusters. Now, I pretty much ran the show when it came to doing big, huge blockbusters. Once the trains went dead, I was running the fucking show. I'd say one person I could think of. Now, don't get me wrong, Med, I remember the big M-E-Ds and the Fady, F-A-Y-D-E. I remember all that shit. PJ, up on I forget the Bruckner? Sawmill, probably a couple of them highways up there. I'm trying to pinpoint exactly which one. Up around Pelham, I remember when my friends used to live up there in Pelham Bay. I'd go visit them and see a lot of it. Med, PJ, a lot of big blockbusters from them. Mirage pulled off one at that point. But then later after that, I pretty much ran the show with that stuff, man. I did some huge fucking blockbusters. The only dude that came out and kind of beat me would be MQ, DMS. That's where he gets his props in my eyes. He did some big blockbusters. And I'll tell you, I did that one behind the heliport. I could be honest about it. I don't have to sit and even say this. I could be quiet, but I'm honest. And I did that big, huge RD behind the heliport near the 59th Street Bridge. I've put pictures on. I could put pictures on again after this. I did a huge with the rat next to it. I've done a huge with 357. I've done it, I think, 3 times in God knows how many years. And I think 11, 12 years I did it 3 times. It's like one city block, and it's about 20 feet high. Now, this is the trick. Originally, I did it 18 feet high. Then it got crossed out by Chino, TNC, Trim, Date, blah, 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 whoever else, all BYI, all them guys they ran down there, JA and Dape, I remember, all these guys crossed it out, scribbled it out. Then MQ came by, somewhere in the middle, and he did that wall, big, huge MQ. He actually did it. He's funny. As I could tell from where mine ended off, because it's big, huge pyramids that go around like this. And I could tell he actually went like a foot higher than me. So I did about 18 feet. He made it about 20 feet. Yeah, maybe 19 feet. And then, yeah, he did it that big. And then he beat me in it. So that, to me, was the biggest blockbuster in all the 5 boroughs. Yeah, this is going on. What year am I talking about now? I originally did that when the trains were still running, originally. So this is the second time around. We're probably talking about right before I moved to the Bronx. No, we're talking about when I came back. Yeah, like, 89, 95, maybe. I don't know. MQ did it anywhere from 93 to 95. Did a big, huge MQ there. Did it bigger than mine. Then his got all like fucked up. People crossed it out. Pretty much the same people. He had beef with pretty much the same people. I don't know about Chino and all them, but his shit got all fucked up too. Probably JA crossed it out. So then I came back over there maybe 2-3 years later, after I'm divorced and everything. Me, Mike Kirchhoffer, my brother, Lace was there. Spawn, I think, came by. Spawn was there, yeah. You know, Spawn, GNR. A few of us were there. We all did it the second time. Yeah. And that time I did it bigger than MQ. I made sure that my outline was higher than anything he painted by like a foot. Then after that, eventually I did the rat next to it. And the rat's ear was 27 feet off the ground. And the RD was like 22 feet off the ground at that point. But yeah, for a hot minute, MQ actually had that shit. But yo, nothing for nothing, MQ DMS, man, that's where he gets his props, man. That's where he gets his ball and his points, man. You gotta think, man, some of the big, huge stompers he's done. And there's a couple of letters that just are not meant for blockbusters. I'm talking about when you're doing a blockbuster, like, I guess you would go with this middle one. Just picture a bit of blockbuster, not all rounded out. When you're short, when you're going short like this, but long this way, I'll tell you a couple of letters that are fucking not easy to do that way and hard to the point you can't do them at all. The letter Y, no good. No good. For long, short blockbusters, the letter Y is fucking no good. The letter X, no fucking good. For doing short, long blockbusters, those letters, no good. Now, Q, a Q is fucking nearly impossible. When you're doing it long like this, but short like this, a Q, and then you got to do that little thing that comes out, yeah, very fucking hard to do. Very tricky letter. I would pick any letter over them. T, even the letter T can get a little weird when you're doing it, because you have to, as thick as you do it here, you would have to do it here, unless you do it this part thicker and that. Like, it's hard to balance it out where it comes out like a clear blockbuster. Like, it's a lot trickier than I thought, than people would think, rather. Give it a shot one day. Try and do your name in a blockbuster, like a clear blockbuster style, but short and long, stubby. Long letters, but short. Yeah. That's not easy to do. MQ mastered that shit, man. Yeah, I just saw one not too long ago. He did. I was riding around on my bike. It was huge. It was pink. It was like the whole side of a fucking building downtown. So yeah, that motherfucker puts it in with that shit, man. Hell yeah. He fucking goes off with them big, huge blockbusters. So for many, many years, it was just me and MQ. Not that we were doing them together. We actually didn't get along. He'd cross me out, this and that. I'd cross him out. Yeah. But in any event, he was the only other person doing these things. Big, huge blockbusters. Then, many, many decades go by. I don't know, he moves or whatever. I'd still do a few here and there. At that point, I pretty much took my blockbusters underground. In the tunnels and abandoned stations, shit like that. Now you look at the game, like it pretty much faded out. Like, for real, other than a few people doing a blockbuster here and there on the highways, Mirage, with TMR, did a lot of blockbusters on the highway. Yeah, without that, there was no one else putting it in. Yeah, TMR was doing some on the highway, yeah. Other than MQ, it was just me. No one else was doing big, huge blockbusters. No one. Just me and MQ were the only ones that had that field. Later on, Cost and Revs started doing paint roller things. But that's many years later on. That's like in the 90s. Yeah. So, yeah, that's something I did and MQ did, and no one else was really doing big blockbusters. There was a couple of guys on the west side that would do blockbusters, but they're just doing something on a handball court with a couple of pretty colors in it. And you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not like taking down like a fucking city block. Like, they're not there like doing something 20 feet tall. Like, you get me? Like, they're doing something that like they could stand in front of and just do it like a piece. So I'm talking about like shutting shit down, you know, at that point. Yeah, there was no one else out there but MQ. I'm trying to think who else. There was a couple of pretty impressive things that were pulled off on highways up in the Bronx. Brooklyn, I don't remember nothing really amazing coming out of Brooklyn as far as it goes with blockbusters. Queens people could do blockbusters. Queens is known for a few dudes that would do big blockbusters, but nothing really anything at that point in life. Now you look at it, it's like, yeah, me and MQ would rock that throne like crazy, man, for real. Yeah, it was either me or him. It was doing it depending on what year it was, who did a bigger blockbuster between me and him, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, he vanished at one point too, and it was just me doing it. But yeah, I'd say MQ is the only one that came anywhere near competing with me as far as it goes with size and pure blockbusters. Yeah, MQ. Definitely, I'd say he would be the one that, yeah. Yeah, like I said, he even outdid me at one point. I could tell he did his shit like a foot and a half higher up than mine. I know he was thinking, motherfucker, I ended here. He's like, you go up here. I love that shit. That's the mentality. But yeah, me and MQ. Nowadays, wow. Like, yo, that was the lost art, man. And I'll tell you, I love seeing them big old fucking Googs, bro, and them big fucking pears and shit like that. I love it, man. Goog does it really nice and tight. The way Goog does his shit now with the three, it reminds me of Lace, like the style, of like the tightness of it. Yeah, Goog does some nice fucking shit. Hound, I don't know, man. He dicks his D all the time. I know you can tell he does, because I have a D in my tag. Yeah, you go straight or make a point come out of it, because it almost looks like a lopsided O. So, but yeah, he does big shit. Pear, I like pear shit. I just hate the word pear. Like, it's not a pair of sneakers. It's like a vegetarian type thing. So yeah, pear is good too. Pear does some big stomper shit. Pear and Goog, yeah. Now Goog, I hate his fillings, man. I think them shit's ugly as fuck. But it is what it is. He does really beautiful fucking big, huge stompers. They're not necessarily squared off blockbusters, but they're huge. And that's what I'm talking about today. Stompers, huge shit, yeah. I have to say nowadays, the game, yeah, it's definitely different. And Texas is another one, and Gain. They do that big, huge rollers. Yeah, huge. Cost and Revs have done some really huge rollers, which to me would fall under the stomper category and almost a blockbuster category because of their squareness. But it's, a little behind that, like in my mind. It's hard to explain. It's like an unfinished blockbuster. But it's huge. So some of them costs and revs, and some of them are actually filled in thick enough to be considered a blockbuster. It's not just a paint rolly, it's a step above that, and it's huge. So yeah, there was a lot of that shit going on, but that's the stuff I loved, man. Big, huge blockbusters. You really get to know the wall or the train at that point. Like you're stuck there for a while. Like when you're doing a big ass blockbuster, that's like some shit, because you're like there for a while. Like you're not just, like you gotta actually sit there. When you're doing your planning on it, you gotta say to yourself, am I actually able to sit here for 3 hours? Will I have that span of time? 3 hours. Like, will the environment change in the course of 45 minutes from now to an hour from now? Maybe some crazy floodlight's going to go on in a half hour and light the whole place up, but it's on some kind of timer that I'm unaware of. So yeah, you see shit like that falls into place. But when you're doing a blockbuster, to me, that's the shit that separates the boys from the fucking men. That's when it's balls out, straight up. Even some of the big ones I've done along the rivers and then freight trains I've done, man. Yeah, you're doing that shit, man. It's like, it's just move, 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 move. And like, I've done a lot of them with rollers. I've done freight trains that are like ridges with fucking rollers. I'll put the pictures on. You say I don't do it, I'll show you. I did do it. Yeah. Hard shit to do, man. The next day, your shoulders fucking burning, man. Like you feel like you were fucking doing shoulder presses or something, man. Yeah, for real. Your chest, your pecs, your fucking traps, everything, man. And even under your lats and shit like that, your armpits, that shit, your fucking triceps, it feels sore. If you go like this, and you're doing that shit huge, man, huge shit. Yeah, it fucking hurts, man. It takes a long fucking time. Now, that's fucking graffiti, man. To me, that is, like, the best, man. That's when you're, like, fucking in, like, a yoga class and shit, man. Yeah, I love it, love it, love it so fucking much. Huge. I actually would love to do, like, a whole factory. Rare. My boy Rare. Up there at Graffiti Universe. He's got this big, huge factory up there. I remember asking him on the off-peak seasons, let me do it, this, that. And he was willing to let me do it, but I had my paint together and I had other thoughts in my mind. But I'd love to just do like a whole city block, like a factory. Just a huge R and a huge fucking D. Like, boom! Like, I could do that shit. Just the whole fucking wall, 2 letters, Yeah, I could stretch that shit. I could do it huge. I was going to do it to the Bowery wall. Of course, not reach all the way up because I'd be doing it illegally. But I was thinking about doing that, and then I got arrested. That's when Anna did, the big Anna. I was with Anna when she did that. I told her, you go, girl. I ain't go fuck with it, man. I chickened out. I just got out the system. Like, I literally just got out from a graffiti charge. It's 2017. Maybe 9 hours before I'm in front of that wall. I'm ready to do this shit again. I swear, like 9 hours later, I'm like ready. Like I slept, I woke up, I brushed my teeth, I grabbed the paint. Because I had it scheduled to do it that time. And I just happened to get arrested for graffiti, you guys can look into it. It's one of my past podcasts. So as soon as I got out, I was like, fuck them. They can't fuck with me. That wall, that Wyoming bitch, and the Miami, and this and that, the Art Basel, she can't rat on me. She sells street art. What's she going to do? It'll ruin her career. She's a gallery woman. She does that whole shit. And it's funny, too, because after I actually mentioned that on a podcast, that wall never lived again, man. That shit, after I mentioned that shit, I mentioned it a few times, but right after I mentioned that shit, a few months later, that wall was never the same. Just people walking up to it, just painting whatever they want. Yeah. True story, especially now during the pandemic. But yeah, I'm like, man, fuck that. What's she gonna do? Bitch can't see me, right? Yeah, you wanna hear some crazy shit? What time do we got? Yeah, I think I still got time on here. Let me just stop it and start it again. Yeah, you wanna hear some crazy shit? I was watching Where Are They Now? Like old rock and roll groups, like from my era in like the 70s and shit like that. And where are they now? Now, I always think about Mick Jagger, like Keith Richards, the guitarist for the Rolling Stones, for you guys who don't know. Like, I look at that dude like he should have died 20, 30 years ago. I mean, God love the dude. I mean, Charlie Watts, the drummer, did die. But, Keith Richards looks like they wheel him out on a dolly, and he performs, and they put him back in, and, wheel him in, and, hook him up to machines until his next concert and shit, for real. But, people say, Mick Jagger's still hopping around, still doing this thing. But yo, I saw this shit yesterday, man, on Gene Simmons, the lead singer for Kiss. Remembers Kiss? I wanna rock and roll all night. Yeah, Kiss, the lead singer. I was in Kiss Army. I'm gonna come clean with you. Yes, me, Robert Dyer, part of Kiss Army. I had the little card and everything. Yeah. When I was younger, Kiss was the shit. I remember they had the TV show, Kiss, with the made for TV, the movie, when they're jumping around, Kiss, yeah. But Gene Simmons, Peter Criss, Ace Frehley, yeah, all that shit. Paul Stanley, remember, like crazy. Big fucking movement in the 70s, right? Huge. They'd come out, man, with these big suits on, their fucking guitars and shit, Lord of the fucking Wasteland and shit like that, yeah. Detroit Rock City, fucking amazing shit. I mean, they dressed weird. They dressed like fucking some futuristic shit, almost like Lobo, the guy that's always chasing after Superman, or like a Predator, yeah, like a Predator, like fucking Aliens vs. Predator, you know, you one ugly motherfucker, you know, Predator, the movie, yeah, fucking Predator, the guy dressed shit like that. Kiss, rock and roll group, big tongue, spits fire all over the place. Gene Simmons, well, it's like, where is he today, right? So I'm watching this shit, I'm like, Jesus Christ. You know, they look at him, he's jogging, he's like running up a hill somewhere with a dog next to him and shit. He's running and shit. And he's still performing, like they show him going on concert. And he's like taking care of himself and he puts on like 40 fucking pounds, like that whole Predator uniform, that whole suit, that shit costs like 40 fucking pounds. Yo, the dude's like 75 years old. He still puts that shit on and fucking goes on. I'm like, yo, let me see how this dude pumps. And you know, he did a concert and I'm watching him, he's spitting his fire all over the place. In his fucking 70s, yo. Yeah, imagine that shit, putting that whole big fucking suit on and shit, jumping around, spitting fire all over the place, and big old tongue coming out of his fucking mouth. Shit blew my fucking mind. Yo, that dude's in his 70s, man, in his 70s, yeah. I mean, Mick Jagger, of course, was around before him. I mean, Mick Jagger goes back to 50s, 60s, shit like that. But, I mean, yo, like, wow. Think about that shit, man. Yeah, with Gene Simmons. He's like an old fucking dude, man. But like in his late 70s. I was impressed with Mick Jagger still hopping around. Like, how the fuck's he doing? He's pretty much doing like jumping jacks and shit on stage, you know? But yo, to see Gene Simmons, man, he coming out with that big old suit, man. He's still hopping around and spitting blood all over the place and fire and shit. Like, oh, shit, check that out. That blew my mind. Then I started thinking about Madonna. As her clip came on next, and what the fuck did that woman do? Yo, I remember writing graffiti before Madonna even existed. And now I look at this woman, like, yo, that is some shit. Like, I remember writing graffiti before ever hearing about any Borderline or Papa Don't Preach or any of that crazy shit. Yeah, that woman was nowhere to be found. I look at her now, man. God damn, that woman fucked herself up, man. She looked like Marilyn Manson or some shit. Like, yo, like this shit, like, what the fuck did she do, man? I'm like, holy shit. It's like, yeah, like, and she's like bugging the fuck out her ass. It looks like some crazy shit, like from SpongeBob SquarePants or something. Amazing, man. I'm like, wow, you know what it is? That shit really hit her hard, man. Like, I'm going through it. I go through it, man. Believe me, I was out there, man, for a fucking long time, man. Now, like, I'm old. You know what I'm saying? But imagine, like, a woman that made her, like, life off of her beauty and her sexuality. And that shit is gone. Not only is it gone, but I believe she could have fucking aged gracefully. But yo, she let some fucking doctors do some fucking Michael Jackson shit on her, yo, for real. They fucked her up, man. I don't know. She's got a lawsuit, man. She looked like that lion lady. Remember the tiger lady or the lion lady? I don't know what she was doing. She got in trouble with the law or something like that. They had her jumping around. I think she killed her husband or something. Yeah, you look that woman up, the lion lady or tiger lady. Face goes up like this. Like, that's how it is. It's like balls. Like, yo, like the Joker. Like, Batman, I got you now. Like, yo, that shit is bugged the fuck out. But I'm like, yo, I'm looking at myself. I'm like, yo, I ain't too fucking bad, man. Hey, fuck yeah. I mean, hey, I will tell you this, but you guys remember I was telling you, yeah, I'm trying to sell all my artwork. I'm moving in with my girlfriend. Gonna let my, yeah, I started looking at it and I said, I don't know. I can't use that word girlfriend no more. I'm in my 50s. She's an Asian girl. She's about 32, 33 years old, you know. So I kind of broke off with her. You know, and now like I see these girls, I'm like looking at them like, how you doing? You know, and I swear they're like ready to fucking mace me or something, man. I'm like, how the fuck y'all get laid nowadays, man? Like, yo, that shit's crazy, man. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, one chick, she started making some big scene and shit. I was like, oh shit, right over there, Bloomingdale. I was like, oh shit, like. You know, I was getting ready to get on some Me Too movement shit. I mean, I just approached her like I would back in the days. You know, you look at them, you know, I mean, I'll show you what I did. I was like, something like this. You know, and like, you know, yo, she flipped the fuck out, man. Fucking flipped the fuck out. I jogged away. I had like PTSD, and I was like, oh shit. Like, yo, I thought I was gonna get locked up or something. Yeah, you know, like I breathe in, and I'm like, you know, and she flipped the fuck out, man. I didn't mean not to buy him, but my son's like, yo, dude, man, yeah, you gotta chill with that shit, man. I don't know, I guess, like, I don't drink, so I guess I gotta go into a bar, maybe get a little can of beer or something, you know, sit there, drink and talk to women that way. Make sure, you know, I mean, you can't just walk up to a chick that's on her way to a job or something. I found that out, yeah, shit's crazy, man. It's like, yo, I remember with my brother, we used to steal a lot of reptiles and shit. I was stealing reticulated python. They're like the largest snake on earth. I had them for a very long time. I wound up stealing them later on in life. But anyway, I was sticking my hand in the tank, 86th Street. Al used to work there. It's called Petland Discount. This is back in like 84, 1983, 1984. So I'm sticking my hand in, and at this point, it's a baby. It's like 24 inches, maybe 2 feet. It's like this. But I mean, it could literally get 23, 24 feet. It's not like an anaconda, fat, but it's a long motherfucker. Reticulated python. So, you know, I'm sticking my hand in that fucking Al. He comes walking around the corner. I used to smoke a cigar in the Petland. That's how far back we're going. He'd walk around with a cigar in his mouth. He caught me, my hand was hanging out the tank, right? He comes over, I said, shit, I can't pull it out, it's obvious. Like, so I act like I'm trying to pet the snake, and the thing's all pissed off, the snake's all cocked back, it's like, you know? So my brother's looking at me like, dude, what the fuck, man? So I'm like, what do I do, what do I do? I looked at him, I said, snake! Snake! You know, so like, I acted retarded. Like I had no other fucking thing to do. And yo, that's what I did when this lady was like flipping on me, man. I literally acted like I didn't know any better. Like, yeah, it's like I ran away. Like, yo, I swear, man, that shit was like people were like surrounding around and shit. Like all these chicks with short haircuts and stuff. And like I go like, wow, man, that shit was fucking crazy, man. For real. Yeah, all right, people, yo, you guys take care of yourselves. Yeah, keep your eye on it. I'll put on a bunch of these pictures of blockbusters, stuff like that I'm talking about. Take care of it. Oh, wait up. Look. Huh? Dog cat. Cat dog. What is it?